watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. On today's show, we have the latest from Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald. If you need a little catch-up on training camp of what has exactly gone on, what Mike Macdonald has had to say, that is where we come in, my friends. We are going to go over all the highlights of what Mike Macdonald has said to this point. We'll react to them coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, the 49ers report, 40-winers as I like to call them, Chase Sr., friend of the show, a friend of me of sorts. He has challenged us to get 1,000 comments on today's show. He has said, Tyler, you haven't done it all month. Why would it happen now? And I said, Chase, you're not wrong, but today is the day, my friends. The 12s are going to back me up on this. And the 49ers, they have nothing to stand on. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. Well, we didn't, to be fair. Should have made the playoffs, though. They had a losing record last year. They finished last in the division. We are not going to let them beat us in this challenge today. Stick it to Chase, spam us. Let's get 1,000 comments and get started with today's show. Training camp rolls on for the Seattle Seahawks this week. They put the pads on, and Mike Macdonald has been sounding off on a number of topics in regards to this team, both on offense and defense. And let's get you what Mike Mac had to say, starting with none other than rookie quarterback Jalen Milroe. Milroe has been the talk of the NFL over the last few months with his arrival in Seattle, the third-round pick out of Alabama. And everything we've heard, whether it's Mike Mac or Clint Kubiak or others, they have said that they have seen significant progress from Jalen Milroe from when he first arrived at rookie minicamp to where he's at right now in training camp, that he is doing everything that he's supposed to do and then some, taking steps forward. Mike Macdonald saying this on Jalen Milroe. Confidence. You see a decisiveness in his game. Eyes are in the right spot more consistently. He could probably go into detail. It just seems like, to me, it's a quicker delivery. The footwork is starting to match the routes and the concepts. He's got a whole career ahead of him to improve, but excited to see him right now, and he's doing a good job. He's putting in the work. I mean, if we're realistic on expectations for Jalen Milroe here, all right? If we're living in reality and not fantasy land, that some of y'all are, hoping that he beats out Sam Darnold, becomes QB1. That's not happening. Get that out of your head. Get your mind out of the gutter here. What is being asked of Jalen Milroe is, can you beat QB2, and can we trust you to be used in some specialty packages? And so far, everything we've seen, he's checking off those boxes to do those things. Could he one day be the QB1 and the future franchise quarterback for this team? That's a question for another day, not today. But at least for now, he's doing everything right. There's not a negative thing I can say about Jalen Milroe right now and how he's approached things and how good he looks to this point. I'm very confident. I like what I've seen, and he's doing the work, and I'm very impressed and can't wait to see what he does going forward from here. Our pinned comment today, you might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know. Will Jalen Milroe start a game this season? Maybe it's an injury to Darnold. Maybe Darnold struggles potentially. What do you guys think? Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in and tell me in the comments section below. Number 2 on takeaways from Mike Macdonald. There is no rush on the offensive line competition. So let's give you an idea of where we're at right now in this offensive line situation. Charles Cross is going to be your starting left tackle. He's going to play, I think, at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level this year. You're all set there. The left guard spot belongs to Gray Zabel, your first-round pick out of North Dakota State. I'm very optimistic about him. There will be some growing pains, but I think he's going to be very good. The center position, Olu has an edge, but Jalen Sundell has been getting some snaps and is making it a competition of sorts. The right guard position appears to be between Christian Haynes and Anthony Bradford, with probably a slight edge to Anthony Bradford at this point. And then the right tackle spot is solidified with Abraham Lucas. So essentially, you have two battles going on, the center spot, the right guard spot, and more so the right guard spot than the center position at this point. But you're not going to hear from Mike Macdonald and Clint Kubiak this week, or even next week for that matter, naming their full starters at this point. They want to let things play out as we get to these padded practices, as we get to live game competition in the preseason to see how this all ultimately plays out. And if guys struggle, maybe you keep the door open to potentially sign somebody and bring in some outside help. Mike Macdonald saying this in the offensive line competition. I think you just got to trust the process. Shout out Joel Embiid. I think you start putting a timeline on it, you might be forced to make a decision that's probably maybe premature. Or maybe you are waiting too long. Maybe it declares itself before. Trust the process. All right? There is no need to name a starting center and right guard today. What benefit does that do you? Especially if you get an injury and then you got to backtrack and somebody else ends up being your week one starter here. So I think that they have the right mindset to let this play out. And as I've stated before, some people, they ask me, Tyler, our fearless leader, who should be starting at right guard? Do you want it to be Christian Haynes? Do you want it to be Anthony Bradford? And here's the answer I keep going back to every single time, folks. I don't care, honestly. I just want the best man to win. If it's Anthony Bradford, if it's Christian Haynes, great. I just want them to give it to the correct option and that player to shine and to thrive. I don't have a dog in this fight. I think we're all in the same boat here that we just want to see the best players succeed and put this team in position to shine forward from here. Pick a right guard. Which one would you rather go with? Anthony Bradford or Christian Haynes? Type AB for Anthony Bradford. Type CH for Christian Haynes. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know which one you lean towards. Folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today for the latest happenings on your favorite team throughout the entire training camp and into the preseason. We're going to be live for every Seahawks game this season, including the preseason matchup here in just a few days from right now against the Las Vegas Raiders. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a moment. Lock us in for free. Doesn't cost you a thing. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. You'll be glad you did. Subscribe now. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. Expectations are very high for Mike Macdonald and this Seahawks team. He's got championship aspirations. And a lot of people, when you moved on from Geno Smith and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Draymond Jones, were calling this a rebuilding year for Seattle. And I was quick to point to, very early in this offseason, that this is not a rebuilding year. This is a retooling. This is a reloading year. And I think with where this roster is at, comparably speaking to what it was at the end of last year, we have every reason to think that there's nowhere to go but up from here, that this team is even better than what they were a season ago, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And Mike Macdonald believes they're ready to compete. He said this: our expectations can't be any higher than what we expect from ourselves. Bring it on. We want to win the championship. But in order to do that, we have to become a championship team. We have to become the team that we're trying to be. We have a vision for our team of who we want to be, and we believe that that vision is a team that the 12s are going to be really proud of, but it takes time. We have to put it together. We have to do the work. We have to do all the meetings, do all the reps. We have to make those tough decisions. The standard is high of what Mike Macdonald is talking about here, of being a championship caliber team. But I love that. It reminds me of when Mike Mack was talking about his high school days as a high school coach many years ago. This is a conversation he had, I think it was about a month ago, where the high school coach he worked under would ask the coaching staff, all right, what do you think our record's going to be? And some coaches would say, oh, we're going to go 8-1, we're going to go 7-2, 6-3. And then his high school head coach would go back and say, wait, where do the losses come from? Why should we even play the games if you expect to lose? And so he's going in with a mentality, hey, Our standard is high. We expect to win every single time we take the football field, and the confidence is there. I'm buying what he's selling too. 10 wins as a first-year head coach, a defensive mastermind. I know that there was a lot of attention on Dan Quinn when it came to first-year head coaches. And for Dan, it was his first year at a new location, but you know what I'm saying here. But that kind of lost sight from the mainstream media of what Mike Macdonald did in his first year in Seattle. And I think he's the right man for the job. He's saying the right things. And he's somebody that I think that players and everybody's looking to as a guy they want to play for, that you'll run through a brick wall for, that you are all in. And I think this team's all in. We haven't seen any drama. We haven't seen any distractions. Everybody's on the same page. How we feeling, 12s? Are the Seahawks a Super Bowl contender in Mike Macdonald's second season? Is that a bit of a reach? What do you think? Type B for believe, D for don't. Are the Seahawks a Super Bowl contender? Chime in and tell us what you think. Uchenna Nwosu is currently on the PUP list, and the latest update from Mike Macdonald is that he is not expected to be back anytime soon. Some unfortunate news for Nwosu, who we have not seen a lot of over the last 2 seasons. Mike Macdonald saying this, we'll see. We're going to the season probably throughout the rest of camp, and then we'll go from there. We'll just hold on to the timeline right now, but we're not necessarily close right now. I'm not surprised. I hate to say, but that's what's happened with Uchenna Nwosu. The guy struggled to stay healthy. And this is why you brought in DeMarcus Lawrence. You have Derek Hall, Boye Mafe, among others here. If you're Seattle, the truth of the matter is you have to prepare for life without Uchenna Nwosu. I think at this point, he is kind of like a luxury piece. If he's there, you'll take him, and you're glad he's there. But the reality is that you don't really expect a ton. That you don't think he's going to play that significant of a role. If he does, great. But I'm just going to assume that he's not there. And I hate to say that, but I think we've learned that at this point with Uchenna Nwosu, that he can't be counted on to stay healthy. That's just reality here. Who's to stand out to you from Seahawks training camp? If you had to pick one player, who would it be and why? We got one more to talk about in just a moment, but want you guys to chime in. Who comes to mind? Tell me in the comments section below. So when DeMarcus Lawrence signed with the Seattle Seahawks, I told you at the time that he was right up Mike Macdonald's alley. Track record he's had with these older pass rushers and getting the most out of them. And Mike Macdonald has made it no secret that he is all in on DeMarcus Lawrence of what he could potentially be and his fit in this Seahawks defense. And he has been showing up and showing out and doing everything that's been asked of him at this point. Macdonald's saying this on DeMarcus Lawrence. He's like the best drill player I've ever seen in my life. You could ask him to do any drill known to mankind, and just the trust he has in why you're doing it, it is 1,000% every rep. I think we're already starting to say this is a good marriage between Mike Macdonald and DeMarcus Lawrence. And kind of like what we've talked about with other guys like Cooper Kupp, it just comes down to health. If DeMarcus Lawrence stays healthy, this is going to be an easy fit, and he's going to thrive, and there's a chance he could lead this team in sacks. I think he can be a difference maker for this Seattle Seahawks team. I'm very confident in his capabilities here. Let's just see him stay healthy. But he is the right player for this scheme. He is a natural leader. He's exactly what Mike Macdonald's looking for, and I can't wait to see him in some live game action here pretty soon. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. If you made it to the end of today's video, you know what that means? You're a real one, a real member of the 12s. Spam 12 in the comments. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Seattle Seahawks Today.